All right, welcome back to the channel. My name is Coach Jordan Hargrave. Today I'm going to be reacting to a video on TikTok called Depersonalization Cure. I don't know anything about this person. I don't know anything about what the video is going to be. I am going to tell you my opinion about it, and it is just that. It is just my opinion. I have helped people recover from anxiety, panic, and DPDR for the last 7 years full time, thousands and thousands of people. And I know this recovery path inside and out. I've taken a lot of time to really understand, research and evidence that actually shows what works and what doesn't work. But I'm still learning. I'm still a student, but I definitely am going to be able to give at least an informed opinion. Okay. And so let's go and get this thing rock and rolling. Click like if you are enjoying these reaction videos. I'll keep doing them. And subscribe, comment, all that fun stuff. Let's get this thing rocking and rolling.
Never felt the same after the ZOF. I got you, bro. That's called depersonalization. I had it
After the
for a really
after
long.
after the what? After the ZAW?
Never felt the same after the ZOF. I got you, bro.
After the ZAW. Let me know in the comments if you know what he's talking about. The ZAW.
That's called depersonalization. I had it for a really long time. It's a super scary thing.
It is terrifying. It's whenever you feel like your body is a separate entity, or you also may experience derealization, which is where everything feels fake and dreamlike, like there's a wall of glass between you and reality. I went through the symptoms 2 years, 24/7, 5 years off and on, and it was the most terrifying thing that I have ever been through. I would not wish these symptoms on my absolute worst enemy. And I mean that. I mean, even just 1 second in those symptoms feels like an eternity in hell. And I know that that sounds extreme, but anybody who's been through those symptoms, comment below if that's you. You will know what I'm talking about. It is absolutely horrible. And they are trauma coping mechanisms. They show up once your nervous system feels trapped and overwhelmed, too overwhelmed to fight or flee. You go into the freeze response, and this is your brain actually shutting down the structures. It's technically, Bessel van der Kolk calls it the Mohawk of self-awareness. It's a series of brain structures that are responsible for you feeling connected to your body and your environment, because basically you're about to be eaten by the lion and you might as well not feel it. It's basically nature's last gift. If you're going to be eaten, you might as well not feel it, okay? Now, you're not being eaten by a lion, at least I assume you're not. And there's probably no, physical danger, but yet your body and nervous system are in reaction mode as if there's immediate physical danger, because you've probably had a pretty painful history. You might just be going through one singular painful event, and that's called a major trauma. But for most of the clients that I work, where it's been years and years, or at least several months of prolonged depersonalization realization, I'm just betting you've probably had a disproportionately painful history, and that's what's causing it. And so that's why your body is a war zone, and that's why, even though maybe there was like a singular event that kind of was the straw that broke the camel's back, you're not able to downregulate your nervous system, because that was the straw that broke the camel's back. Initially, it was a bad marijuana experience for me, but my body was already a war zone long before that. Okay. And so it's not as simple as like navigating through one singular event. You're now having to face and deal with the trauma that's been stored in your body for a very, very, very long time. Let's keep this thing rocking and rolling.
That a lot of people actually have and just like are quiet about it and don't say anything because, like, what?
Yeah, that's another good point, Mr. No Shirt Guy. But basically, a lot of people go through these symptoms, and because the average person can get through them in 1 month or less, they just never say anything to anybody. They don't even know what the name is, and they don't really care. They just think, okay, well, that was really freaking creepy. I don't know why I felt like I was living in a dream world for a moment, or, or I felt like I was an observer of my body, like my hands didn't feel like my own. They just, connect it to maybe a specific event, and then they move on. I've told so many people that I know about DPDR, and they'll be like, oh, yeah, one time I had a bad drug experience and that happened. Or even my mom was like, yeah, whenever I was giving birth to my brother, she would feel that for a second. My brother, during a bad marijuana experience, experienced the symptoms for a little bit. So that's actually not a bad thing, too. Sometimes knowing the name, like, while it can be helpful, sometimes it actually feeds the obsession. So sometimes not even knowing what it is better than knowing what it is, because you can have a tendency to over research and over obsess over it. And then you come across all these horror stories online, But it is important that we know what it is, technically speaking, because we need to understand that it's basically our brain trying to protect us whenever our nervous system feels trapped or overwhelmed. And if we can make our body our safe place and release all the buildup in the body, as well as other things to communicate safety to the body and nervous system, we can be free. And that's what I've been helping people do for the last 7 years.
But this right here, lion's mane mushrooms right here, this literally cures that. It literally grows brain cells in your mind. And it's literally one of the most power mushrooms in the world, most powerful mushrooms in the world. Right here. This bag right here will last you more than a year. So, if you guys want to have mental clarity, no fog in your mind, take, please, like, I'm trying to help y'all out.
So, on one hand, it's kind of humorous that he's claiming that this is the cure for everybody and the way he's saying it. But in all seriousness, though, this is a really big problem. And this is exactly what I went through all those years ago. And I mean, this video is from, 5/18 of 24. So a little over a year ago. But I mean, all those many years ago, whenever I was suffering, it was the same thing. It was like, hey, take this supplement. It will cure your symptoms. Hey, I'm going to go ahead and take him off the screen. Okay. Mr. No Shirt Guy, which no disrespect. Again, I don't know who this individual is, and I know that they're trying to help people, but yeah. With that being said, every video that I watch, this is the cure. This is the cure. This is the cure. And here's what I will tell you. Just because one person does something that calms their nervous system below the point of overwhelming stress, okay? Think of it like, a cup of water, which I don't have a cup of water, but I have this, peanut butter and chocolate right here. But imagine this is like your body, and let's say that the peanut butter in this case, since I don't have water, represents stress. Well, traumatic stress happens at the point of overwhelm. Everything's overflowing. And let's say that someone takes lion's mane, and for that particular nervous system, for that particular brain with that particular history, it's enough to calm them below the point of overwhelm. And so DPDR shuts off, and any other symptoms associated with traumatic stress, maybe memory issues, time feeling distorted, things like that. And maybe at that point, they're still generally anxious, but that would be more fight or flight response at this point. Well, guess what they're going to think? Because they're speaking from their own individual experience. Lion's mane is the cure. Or, maybe they took, Jif peanut butter and chocolate. that was not funny. I try, guys. I just turned 36. I'm getting pretty old, so the dad jokes are gonna keep coming. That was absolutely terrible. And if you're one of my clients, you get an unlimited amount of jokes every single week that are stupid, but my clients feel bad for me, I think, and they laugh at me, or they they laugh with me. Maybe they are laughing at me, but no. But it's like I get it, like there's going to be videos that I react to coming up soon where people say that prayer and Bible study is the cure. And I'm a Christian. I love the Bible. In fact, I've got a Bible right here. Right? And like if you knew how much that I have, like underlined stuff, like I'm a Bible nerd. I went to Bible school. I've got like the Geneva Bible, which is the Bible that came over on the Mayflower. Okay. Like I've written a book about the Bible. Like you're not going to find a bigger Bible nerd than me. Right. I just bought a 2-volume series about the Bible that I've been waiting to come out for like 10 years. And it's just this nerdy book about eschatology. But anyway, I was reading the Bible, I was praying, and yet I was still stuck in severe anxiety and depersonalization, realization, and panic. And for me, it didn't do anything. Like it wasn't enough to calm my nervous system, but maybe for other people, for them, prayer and Bible study, or maybe, it was the Quran, or maybe it was some other religious text or whatever, right? Maybe that was enough for them to calm their nervous system, or maybe they took a specific medication, or maybe they started taking vitamin D, or maybe they started doing this. But I'll bet you for a lot of these people, it wasn't just that one thing. They were probably doing a lot of things like, exposure. They were living their life. They got some education about what was going on. They got a little bit of co-regulation, but they started doing one particular thing, and they're connecting their recovery to that particular thing. But I am so glad that this guy's better. Again, I would not wish these symptoms on my worst enemy, But to go out there and tell everybody that all they need to do is take lion's mane. Do you know how many thousands of people that I've worked with that took various supplements, including lion's mane? I guarantee if I went into my computer and looked at all the applications over the years and typed in lion's mane, I would see that come up a lot, right? Okay. That's one that I've had a lot of my, or heard a lot of my clients have taken. If that was enough, then everybody could just take lion's mane and they would be cured. So I think there's a problem where people have a heart to help and something worked for them. And what they do is they kind of project that onto everybody else and assume that that's going to work for them. But if you look at studies that have shown what really rewires the nervous system, there are technically four primary things. I had a fifth under there, but self-regulation, directly releasing the tension, adrenaline, and emotion from the body. This is one of the most powerful ways to calm the nervous system. The second is co-regulation. This actually is 45% of healing, and this is a lot of what I do with my clients. People heal people. The number one thing that will calm you down is a safe person that can create hope in you, build a safe healing relationship. And whether that's me or somebody else, I don't care, but that is really, really important for your recovery. The next thing is exposure, facing your triggers instead of running from them, because whatever you avoid, your brain assumes is a lion trying to eat you. The next is getting the right information and then doing something called cognitive restructuring, which is starting to renew your mind to how your brain, body, and nervous system work in states of survival. This is one of the first things that I do with my clients because it does two things. It helps detach fear from symptoms as well as shame, because that's part of what keeps your nervous system so revved up is your brain has connected these symptoms to some sort of catastrophic outcome, like you're going crazy or it's permanent or your brain is broken or you're becoming psychotic and things like that. You also can feel so weak, which creates a lot of negative emotion, right? Man, or I'm so stupid, I'm so weak for this. And you're neither one of those things. You're not weak, you're not stupid. You are dealing with symptoms that are biologically correct for the state of your nervous system. But anyway, it's the right state, wrong time. But then the last thing that I teach, the fifth thing, I teach what I call the 5 foundations of safety is healthy lifestyle adjustments, sleep, nutrition, hydration, boundaries in life, just basic stuff to make sure that your body is taken care of. With that being said, there's also going to be individual factors. See it as like an onion, and those are the 5 primary layers. But this is where mentorship comes in too, is like we've got to help you identify what are these specific things in your life that are causing your nervous system to be stressed. I had a lady that I just worked with. She had to be put on a CPAP machine. I had her do an at-home test for sleep apnea. Turns out she has sleep apnea. So her sleep was terrible. Even after doing my sleep strategy, which is based upon sleep science, it still wasn't working for her. So that was what was causing her sleep to be messed up. Now that was fixed. Turns out that she was also in a nervous system war zone at work, which is an environment that is highly chaotic, punitive, aggressive, unstable, or unpredictable. She literally worked in a prison, so she had to change jobs. Another thing too, she was distracting her mind all the time. We had to go through this process of building interoception, and you know learning to look to the body for recovery instead of distraction. That was part of it too. Another thing is we had her get on a continual glucose monitor. It turns out that she was experiencing severe reactive hypoglycemia, which is where your blood sugar spikes really high, then it starts to drop low because you're eating too many carbohydrates. She had to change her diet, and she just got her first 48-hour break from depersonalization, realization, and anxiety in literally over a decade. Okay. And that's on top of the 5 foundations of safety. Now, not every client is this complex, but I'm telling you, some of my clients have existential OCD or symmetry OCD or, scrupulosity or this like harm OCD is a real big one that a lot of my clients, not a lot, that's not true, but it's something I deal with a lot, but it's not something that a lot of my clients have, but it comes up, right? And you would be shocked at how many individual layers there are for each individual. So it's like to go out there and say that there's one thing that is going to cure you of this, it's contrary to what hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of studies that I base what I do off of would say. But it's also not thinking of the individual layers that are specific to that person. So you've got what the research has shown is most effective at rewiring the nervous system. We already talked about that. But then each person is different, and there's going to be unique challenges that they face and unique stressors that we have to deal with. And so, I appreciate this person, as far as trying to help people. Again, we're all on the same team here. I understand that if you've gone through these symptoms, you have a heart to help, but I would really caution you to be very careful before you start telling everybody that something is the cure. I don't even like the word cure because it implies a single thing. Now, healing is possible, but it's going to involve a lot of things working together to show your nervous system that you're safe. Again, the things that hundreds and hundreds of studies have shown, as well as specific factors for you as an individual. Just to name another one, I've got a lady that I just gave her my course on narcissistic abuse because she's having to go through that process of healing from narcissistic abuse. That's very specific. And the list just goes on and on and on. Okay. But anyway, this is just my opinion. This is what I've seen based on looking at the research and my experience of working with people. But yeah, I think it's important that we be careful to tell people that there's this one thing because it's setting themselves up for disappointment, which that's the last thing that we need right now whenever you're already literally overwhelmed if you're experiencing DPDR. That is my opinion. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, smash that like button, comment something below. Let me know your thoughts. Have you tried Lion's Mane? Did it help? Did it not help? And also subscribe, join this family. Would love to have you. And also, I've created a free masterclass for you. It's called the 5 Shifts to get rid of anxiety, panic, and DPDR. If you want to get really deep into the neuroscience, also some very practical things that you can do to recover, make sure to click the link below. It will tell you all the information. There's also an application to work with me and my team to help you recover. Regardless of who you work with, though, I wish you nothing but healing and blessing on your journey, and I hope you have an awesome rest of your day. Thank you so much.